Okay, Robert, just when we thought that the real estate market couldn't possibly be hindered by any further challenges, what ends up happening is a new tax gets introduced. Well, not a new tax, but a way of taxing that impacts the real estate market gets introduced.
Yes, changing the inclusion rate for the capital gains tax affects everybody who has invested in real property and was planning to dispose it sometime in the future, but now they had a few months. The lead time was the real problem here. If some communist wants to increase the rate of tax, well, they can do that if they have a plurality of seats in the House. But there was only 3 months' notice, and that's the worst thing about it. It shows how ignorant they are about how economies work and how people think. Um, so they tried to go from 50% to two-thirds and give people very little notice. Now, the upshot of that is that very few people have panicked. They thought maybe that people would panic, and so they'd sell stuff and sell it just to get avoid the increased tax, and they'd get a huge lot of revenue, and who knows what it would have effect on prices. I don't think they think that far ahead. They thought they're going to get a huge lot of revenue, and people didn't sell. They just said, well, okay, maybe I'll refinance, take some money out that way rather than selling it. So then I haven't made a taxable gain. I've just refinanced the asset, which actually is the way that the railroads operate. They never sell anything. They just refinance it, take some money out, and use that to buy some more. So we didn't need that, but people are flexible. People are aware of all their options, and so they do what's in their own medium and long-term need. What my immediate or long-term really will be realized in the short run. Sometime in 26, we will see Trudeau 2 and his party of uh, green numbskulls reduced, just like John Napier Turner was in 1984, to like 40 seats. And they'll be like out in the wasteland, far, far away. And we'll have somebody else in there in minority, less like they gave Harper a minority the first time, to have a go at it. And perhaps we can see this capital gains tax nonsense reversed. But the real estate business is the consensus of opinion of all the people at one time about everything. If you have a war, it affects it. If you have bad weather, it affects it. If you have crazy economic times, it all affects it. So we will survive. This too will pass.
Well, this is the article that we're sharing here to our real estate chat viewers. Make sure you like and subscribe and check in the description for the link to it for it. Positives about capital gains inclusion. There are a couple of them. So
A very good article.
yeah, very good article. So make sure you've read that. But what Robert and I are going to be talking about here more so are the implications of like what Robert just said in his preamble is the implications on the market because like politics aside, I mean, obviously you create or you change or you raise taxes for tax revenue to fund the country and to fund the country's budgets and needs and whatnot. But then of course the impact to real estate people who own houses, people who invest, wouldn't that be the opposite effect then? Because the government also, Robert, is, pro affordable housing, pro, supply, inventory, this and that, and creating opportunities for newcomers and for immigrants, for first-time buyers, for Canadians. Then in the other hand, you impact, in a sense, whether you're doing it directly or indirectly, but you impact supply because of taxing potential gains that investors own or companies own. I think companies are part of this as well. Like corporations have to pay into this as well, and personal investors that you own one house and you bought one investment property because you thought that was the right thing to do. And I've read articles too, Robert, where they were doing it for their kids, right? The kids' future and whatnot. And so you have investors that genuinely, not speculators, not on trying to flip properties, but genuinely just wanted to have something for their kids, and now they're getting impacted. So Robert, what is the play here? I mean, let's say it gets backtracked, great, but what if it doesn't? And now you're being penalized essentially for investing in real estate. And what was the purpose of it? Was it a plan to cool off the market? Because clearly it's going to have the opposite effect.
Well, anybody who's in elected office, be it the mayor or the municipal or the province or the federal, get very good at talking out of both sides of their mouth. As you just said, you've got the buyers to try and not make mad, and you've got the sellers to not make mad. And anybody who has a bee in their bonnet over a certain issue, they will vote the next time because they have that bee in their bonnet. However, the problem of affordability, as we've talked about before, is the triangle. On one side is high prices. Prices went up by 50% in the not too long ago future. Interest rates went up exponentially from like 1% to 6%. Percentage wise, that's ridiculously big, but the monthly payment and the incomes didn't change. So those are the things that affect affordability. If they're building more expensive apartments to rent, that's not bringing down affordability. So this talk about supply is the wrong question. The only way to address affordability is to move up incomes. Only inflation can do that. Bring down prices. Only an economic collapse can do that. And bring down interest rates. So the only one that's available is bring down interest rates. Now, they're slow to do that because if they bring it down, it will stimulate prices to go up. And it was the whole bringing it down too far that stimulated the investment, the specs, the people who were just going to say, look, inflation is 2%, interest is less than that, the money is free, let's just buy something and it goes up 20% in a year. And the condos, the flipping, the con. Oh, so you're right in saying there's a big difference between you buy something for your child and it's going to be the basis for them to buy something 15 years from now. There's nothing wrong with that. You buy a 2-bedroom condo and you rent it out, you got one tenant, you can deal with that rather than putting your money into the stock market at the top. You put it into something that will gradually work its way up, and then the tenant will pay off the mortgage. So you'll have an asset free and clear at the end of the 15, 20, 25-year time horizon. So the only thing we don't like, that's why I'm just talking about me, as real estate brokers and sellers, is specs who just drive up prices, grab inventory to rent out to somebody who shouldn't be in that property. They're renting it out for far less than its economic rent demands it should be, or what its price would command if you sold it for 5%, 20 times 20, what you're renting it for. So rambling, but
Well, something to chat about because real estate chat viewers who have liked and subscribed to this channel, what's the play here? If you're a real estate chat viewer and you want to invest in property, knowing full well that this looming capital gains tax will have to be paid at some point, you only have two options. One is you're buying to hold, you're investing to hold forever. And so
well,
you're,
everything you invest in will have the capital
well,
gains
yes,
tax
sure.
uh, on it. So you're not doing anything else except for hoping for a greater gain to
Uh,
offset the
exactly.
uh, the capital gain. Now, it's very difficult. The people who have owned cottages for a long time, secondary properties, that they're saying, oh, now maybe I have to get rid of the family cottage because there's a capital gains huge on that. We haven't got enough money to pay the capital gains. So that's why you buy life insurance, so that when that person dies, the insurance pays the tax. And now either the people who are inheritors can take over the property with the tax paid. Uh, like there's shrewd enough people that know their way around so that nothing is terrible. But changing horses in the middle of the stream always makes everybody think real
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, for sure there's going to be an impact, and yes, there is already capital gains as it is. The increase is what we're talking about, and also how that perceivedly and how that financially will impact anybody who's looking to invest in real estate. It's not that people will stop investing in real estate, but the dynamics of what you're now going to have to pay and what it costs to do that when you
Yeah,
do
the
cash
capital
out.
gains tax change is one factor in consumer confidence. The drop in interest rates and the anticipation of further drops in interest rates is what affects consumer confidence. So we have supply and demand that's influenced by consumer confidence. So we have too much supply, people are hesitating. It's consumer confidence. If everybody thinks that prices are going to go down, the prices will go down because no one will buy.
Hmm.
If people realize that there's value, then inflation is not going to go away, that even at 3 or 4 or 5% a year inflation, like really counting it, never mind how it's calculated without energy and without this, that, and the other thing. Real estate appreciates based on that. It may not be each and every year equally, but again, are you going to live in that property for 5 or 7 or 10 years? Then you have time to play with the fact that factors at play will straighten out. The negatives will go away. The overwhelming positives will go away too, and you'll have unrelenting, steady uh, in your pocket.
Perfect explanation. So, Real Estate Chat viewers, comment into our discussion here what you're going to be doing if you're investing in real estate as it is, and how this capital gains changes in the tax structure impacts you. And if you're looking to invest, how do you feel about investing, knowing that this is a capital gain? I mean, can't do anything about it anyway, unless it gets backtrack and improves the whole structure for everybody. But any questions, comments, concerns, put it into the comments section below. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Goodbye. Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day.